Just recently, Logan Paul secured his spot in this year's Elimination Chamber. And to quote unquote celebrate this, we're going to be going through all of his matches throughout his career, all the ones listed here below. It's 16 total, and ranking them on a list from S all the way down to D. Now, a lot of people don't like Logan Paul, me included, for some of his more scummy dealings. However, overall, he is a really good wrestler, so we can't hold that from him. So I figured I'd rank all of his matches just to let you know how I feel about his professional wrestling. First off, we have his tag team match teaming with The Miz against the Mysterios at WrestleMania 38. This was his debut match, and it's been a minute since I've watched this one, although it is a very interesting showcase to see a celebrity do so well in the ring, something we haven't really seen since someone like Bad Bunny or Stephen Amell all the way back in 2015. So this was a very interesting match as a whole, but still a good one with a heel turn at the end by The Miz by attacking Logan Paul at the very, very end. I'd put this right in the middle, right at a B, based definitely on some of his later matches. This is a very okay match that definitely set the bar for what you should expect out of Logan Paul, but it's something that he definitely exceeded later on in his career. And then the first matchup that he had as a singles match was against The Miz at that following year's SummerSlam in 2022. This was a really good match. I personally love this match, really only because of the table spot, because I think it's the first time he did it, and it was really, really cool to see him do it. He hasn't done it as much since because it's obviously a painful spot, but it's still really fun to see. It's a very entertaining moment to watch. And then The Miz, we don't like him as well, but bless him, he did well enough to carry Logan Paul to another really good match. So that's not surprising to me. I would put this in the A category. He has had better, which we'll see in just a moment. Although this is a very fun match to watch because the only thing I remember from it is that splash, which was really, really cool. Then we move on to likely his best match ever, Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel 2022. This match was something that once it was announced, people were like, okay, what are we doing here? Why is Logan Paul going against Roman Reigns? Roman's obviously Roman. Like, what is going on here? And then the match started, and we saw Logan Paul completely blow the roof off of what people expected out of him. And given he's working against, a great competitor in Roman Reigns, and in some people's minds, one of the greatest of all time. But at the same time, this was something that nobody saw coming. Just Logan Paul having a banger match with Roman. And all in all, it's an S tier match. It's very, very good. There's so many cool moments. I think he does the splash in this match too. There's the double punch moment with the Iron Hand, and then the Superman punch. There's a spear at the end that's really nice. Jake Paul ends up coming out at the very end. It's very well structured, and even though Paul's a heel, in Saudi Arabia, they saw him as a babyface because there's a lot of kids there, and I think he was just working as one, which, although we don't like the guy, I think worked for a period of time to see him be the good guy in the matchup, as we've seen Roman, been champ for so long up to this point, and he'd still be champion years afterwards. So this was a very, very good match, deserving of the S rating. Then we went on to the 2023 Royal Rumble, not his only Royal Rumble. We'll get to that one in a moment. But this was a solid match. It wasn't crazy good, but it was a solid performance by Logan Paul. It was entertaining. It was a little like it's a silly match because it's the Royal Rumble, and then they had that crazy Ricochet spot that was memorable. But I don't really want to rank it just as the Rumble. I want to rank it as what Logan Paul did in the Rumble. He survives very late into this match, gives a lot of like, oh no, he could win, which he also does in his most recent Royal Rumble. And I think that is a really entertaining aspect of the match. And that's why I'm going to be putting this one also in A tier, because while the match as a whole might be a little higher or lower, I think Logan's performance specifically was really, really good, with him like, oh, I'm in the final four. I'm going to win, guys. And then all the shenanigans he pulled and the spot with Ricochet. Overall, great. And then we move on to WrestleMania 39 versus Seth Rollins, his first singles WrestleMania match. This was a great match against Seth. It wasn't anything mind-blowing like the match with Roman or super, super entertaining like his spots in the Rumble, but it was a very good match overall. There were some crazy stomps throughout this match. I remember Seth hit a few too many, if I'm being honest. But other than that, it was still really fun. Seth got a win on the big stage, and this kind of started a time for Logan where he didn't really win anything huge, or continued a time of that, because from the Roman match until SummerSlam of 2023, Logan doesn't win a match. So it's a weird sequence, but it's also something that's nice to see, Seth getting one on the big stage, and Logan also performing very admirably too. Oh, and the Speed spot was really, really funny. No. This year was KSI. Speed was the next year, but both of them were still funny. Nevertheless, we move on to the 2023 Money in the Bank ladder match. This one's probably one of his weaker matches. It's nothing wild. It's just a Money in the Bank match. It's I think at this point, it's kind of dragged out the idea of the Money in the Bank because we've seen most of the spots already. There is one pretty good one with Logan specifically where he's trying to do a frog splash onto a ladder, but whoever he's doing it to moves out of the way and then it rocks Logan. But other than that, this isn't a wild match by any means. It had a match with the wrong winner, and with the Rumble, you can kind of isolate it. But with this match, it's less memorable because it's a Money in the Bank ladder match, and B, there's only 7 people, so you might think you'd be able to remember each spot, but most of them are mid carders because it's a it's a Money in the Bank ladder match, so they just kind of blur into one. And LA didn't win, Damian did, and obviously it did end up paying off later on. But at the moment, I just do not recall what was going on in this match, other than everybody teaming up on Logan at the beginning, as shown in the little picture down there. Then we move on to Logan Paul versus Ricochet at SummerSlam 2023. This was an entertaining match. It was nothing crazy. I think it was akin to the tag match from WrestleMania 38. It was designed to be a viral match. It didn't do that. It was still good, but it wasn't viral. This was Ricochet's last. What's the not serenade, but his last huzzah? No, last. I'm gonna say last gasp, but it's not the word I'm thinking of. It's like a musical word. Nevertheless, that's what this was for Ricochet. And with Logan being in it and Ricochet being in it, you have a veteran in Ricochet and Logan, who at this point is still kind of new, but he's wrestled 7 matches up to this point, which obviously isn't crazy or anything, but he's getting the hang of things at this point, and you can really see it in how he works because he's with he's not with a guy as skilled as Seth or Roman. No offense to Ricochet, but it's just true. And he's still able to have a competent match, and that's really, really cool out of him. Then we move on to Crown Jewel 2023 against Rey Mysterio, a match they ran back very recently, which is why I made this video, in fact. And this was a strange match because it's one of the times where Logan just wins matches with cheating. And they do this a little bit too much after the Ricochet match because he wins that by cheating. He wins the next match by cheating. He wins the Kevin match by cheating. I don't remember how he won the LA match. He cheats in the Elimination Chamber, although it's technically not a cheat. He cheats for a long time after this, and I do think that hinders some of his matches. This one will also go in the B tier for me. It's a U.S. title win, so it's obviously elevated by that. But I think in the moment, it was probably like an A or an upper B. But now seeing it repeated a lot, I don't think I can rank it any higher than B tier. So I wouldn't even really consider A or even S. Then we move on to Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul. This is very similar to the Rey Mysterio match, but it's with a more ample performer in Kevin Owens. Younger, obviously. Not much younger, but still younger. Not much, 15 years. Nevertheless, it's by a younger competitor, a more invigorated competitor. And that makes it a better match. I think it's better than the Rey match. It ends really stupid, but I think it's a smart way to end it. But it's also a stupid way to end it because people want to see Kevin beat Logan because Logan's he's an evil heel. Let's see the good Kevin guy beat him. And then you have he gets punched with brass knuckles. Kevin does, kicks out, and then he punches Logan. He's about to goes to the pin. The ref's like, did you punch him? And then disqualifies Kevin. It's a very foolish ending, but it's also a smart way to keep Logan as the champion without disappointing the fans by watching Logan pin Kevin Owens, which was not going to happen. So I get what they were going for, but it's still not a crazy good match. Then we have Logan Paul versus LA Knight on SmackDown. I do not remember this match in the slightest, so I'm going to put it in B and guess that's probably where it belongs. Then we have the 2024 Elimination Chamber. This was a entertaining match. I remember that. It was Bobby Lashley's last, I'm still trying to remember that word, last serenade? Last swan song. It was his swan song. There we go. I remembered it. So it was Bobby Lashley's swan song. I knew I was going to get it eventually. And then you have Drew McIntyre ending up winning in the end. You have all the guys in there just having a great time. It's a good match. It's nothing crazy, but I will put it in A because it's Elimination Chamber, and those are always fun. And Logan's strategy in this with the RKO and then socking someone in the face. I don't remember who it is. I think it's Randy Orton. It's just a very, very good match, and I don't think you could really be surprised with A, it's the chamber, and B, the amount of talent in there that it could even be bad. Then we move on to WrestleMania 40 and the triple threat match with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. This is also a okay match. It could have been a lot better. Randy was going to break out the punt kick, and then he got stopped, and then just Logan ended up winning in the end. It was a match that I remember because it's in the middle of, I think, night one. And you're going through the matches, and this is one of the ones where you're like, oh, the U.S. title's on the line. And then once Logan wins, it's not like, oh, man, that dastardly Logan Paul. It's just like, okay, Logan won. Like you expected it. It wasn't anything mind blowing. And overall, it was just an above average match. I'm going to still put it in B tier, but you could argue like clicking it into A tier, maybe at the very, very bottom. That's the ranking for now. Actually, I'll put it over the tag match. Most of these aren't in any particular order, but I may as well adjust them. So that, and then I don't know about that one. So, nevertheless. Then we have Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul at Crown Jewel 2024. This was a match that was. This was an intriguing matchup at the time because going into it, I was like, okay, Cody is almost 99% winning this match. But the more I thought about it, I was like, well, he's been champ for a while. Wouldn't like be bad necessarily if he lost. Logan's probably going to be WWE champion at some point in his career, get it out of the way. And the match ends up delivering. It's a very entertaining match. I'm going to put it into A tier, but at the bottom of A tier because while it is really good and definitely better than all the matches in B tier, it's nothing like stellar like all the bouts in A tier. And it's Cody being really good. And you notice that about all the guys in the top tiers here. You have Roman Reigns, great. Cody, great. All the guys in there, great. Seth, great. And all the guys in there, again, great. And then Miz. But I think that is good because personally, I just like that one spot. And it was really early in his career, so it was impressive to see him do that well. But you see, like he works with better talent, he gets better matches. I don't think it's that complicated, and it's an entertaining match. You could throw it on. It's not something you necessarily rewatch like glued to your chair. But if you're like, I just want to watch some wrestling today, and then you throw on this show, you might like look back and forth. It's one of those matches, and it's a good match, so it's not like you're ignoring greatness, but you're noticing like, oh, this is a solid match. And if you even don't watch wrestling and someone knows who Logan Paul is, this is probably one of the matches you could show them. This one, the Roman one, or one of the Royal Rumbles. Then move on to the SmackDown Triple Threat to qualify for something. I'm guessing it's probably the Royal Rumble. Once again, I do not really remember this match. I think it's with Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles, right? It's a Santos and LA. What match is this? Oh, it was the U.S. title triple threat. I'm certain there was another match in here with Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, and Logan Paul, but I'm getting distracted. Nevertheless, I do vaguely remember this match. It's just another U.S. title triple threat, so Santos can get pinned. I'm going to put this in C tier because it's nothing special, and I don't really remember anything about it. And with this one, I just put it in C. Oh, it's with The Miz. Never mind. I just put it in B because I just figured it'd be okay based on the talent involved. This one, because Santos Escobar is in there, I put it in C because of the talent involved. Sorry, it's true. So it goes in C. Then we move on to Logan Paul versus LA Knight from SummerSlam 2024. This was a really fun match. It was nice to see LA get his win. I'm putting it in A tier here. It was similar to the Miz match in that it was at a big spectacle in the bright light. And sometimes bright light can hinder a show, but I think it really helps these two matches. And you see them just brawling, going at it. There's a couple crazy spots in here. There's Logan like flying off the ropes and almost killing himself on accident. And then there's LA almost dropping Logan straight on his neck. And sometimes in wrestling, like you're like, oh shoot, oh man, that wasn't supposed to happen. Oh no. But part of wrestling is not just to watch the story. You're watching wrestling also for the wrestling, not just for the story. It's mostly the story, but still, you want to see some stuff in the ring, at least if you watch WWE. And so you see something like that, and you're like, oh my gosh, what a move. And while it might not attribute to story in any way, it's still awesome to see visually. Then we move on to the 2025 Royal Rumble. I think this one is akin to all the other Rumbles he's been in, all the whopping one other Rumbles he's been in. It's a great match. It's very recent. I said in my quick review video that I didn't like it as much, but thinking about it more and more, it was a very entertaining match. And once again, I'm focusing directly on Logan Paul here. He does a similar bit to his 2023 Rumble, where he's like slinking about and getting his eliminations. And I think that works for the Logan Paul character. It's what he should do in really every Rumble. And once again, it's him getting to the final four, eliminating two very talented. Well, he eliminates Punk, and I'm pretty sure there's somebody else that he eliminates. It's just like a random. I looked. The quote unquote random that he eliminated was the very unknown wrestler of AJ Styles. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. I think he's like a mid carder. He was just in the Rumble. So that's the random that he eliminated. I'm stupid, by the way. Um, but he's still eliminating people. He's doing well. He gets to the final three. I think it would have been nice to see Logan and Jay if that's the way they were going to go, because that really puts you like on the edge of your seat, like, and then it really wants you to root for Jay. And then Logan could eliminate Cena, because I know they're thinking about running that at Mania, but I'm getting too deep into it. So what he did and how he was booked made this a very, very entertaining matchup. And then his most recent and final matchup, Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul again, this time on Raw for a qualifier into the 2025 Elimination Chamber. This is the most recent one, as I just said. I didn't watch the full match. I watched the highlights of it a little earlier today. This is a perfectly adequate match that comes up with a really nice finisher for Logan. It's called the Pulverizer. It's not crazy, but it's a pretty cool move. I can't really describe how he does it, but it's an elevated DDT where you just get picked up beforehand. It's a cool move. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend you check it out on WWE.com. It takes you like 3 minutes. But it's a nice move. It introduces a finisher that he's inevitably going to use in the chamber to eliminate someone that we don't want him to eliminate. And then probably set up a Mania match. So I think it's an entertaining match. It's nothing crazy. It also goes in B tier. It's a good one for Logan Paul. It's a good one for Rey Mysterio. And Logan won in the end. I don't think that was really a surprise. So it is what it is. So that's my final listing of all of Logan Paul's matches that he's ever had. As you can see, most of them are in the above average tier because he is an above average wrestler. As I said at the very beginning of this video, you don't like it, but it's just the truth. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit better. Make sure to let me know down in the comments down below. Is there anybody you want to see Logan Paul face in the future? I don't know. CM Punk? John Cena? Nevertheless, make sure you let me know down in the comments down below. It's like the third time I've said that. Make sure you have a good day, good evening, good night, good morning, good dawn, good dusk, good whatever. Make sure to watch any former or future videos on this channel, and goodbye.